Just like Srila Prabhupada in his own family life, his own wife and children were facing so much obstructions for him. Although he had such a pure heart to serve in the mission of the Lord. So although Srila Prabhupada himself was wanting to serve, but in his own family life, you see his wife and children creating so much obstructions. So had Prabhupada just sat down to sort out those affairs, then those affairs would also not have been sorted out, and there would have been nothing positive which would have happened. Therefore, Prabhupada decided to take sannyas. So now the point is that the meaning of sannyas has to be understood properly. So Prabhupada gave up his own family, my family, to create a much, much larger Krishna's family. Is it? So Prabhupada says, yes, Prabhupada was genuinely trying to serve, and his 2, 3 sons, they were not cooperating so much, they were not helping hands for him, they were not expanding Prabhupada's desires in terms of serving the Lord. So Prabhupada's seminal sons were not helping him out. But Krishna gave Prabhupada thousands of sons and daughters to help him serve the instructions of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And Prabhupada says that Krishna has given me so many sons and daughters. So that is the point. That Prabhupada transcended the concept of a mundane family, and Prabhupada created a transcendental family. In this way, Prabhupada is showing us the art of living. To transcend the concept of one's own mundane family and one's own mundane family affairs and be fixed and riveted to offering service in the mission of the Lord. To offering service in the mission of the Lord. So that is the meaning of sannyas. That is the way of living. That is the way of rising. That is the way of ascending. That is the way of ascending. Now one may ask a question that, okay, when one is serving the Lord, then also there are difficulties in the service of the Lord. Because in this material world, nothing is easy, so everything is difficult. Now the point is that is the experience of that not torturous, like an uphill climb with thorns and pebbles? So that may be a question which may be there, or which may pop up. Now, we understand that yes, anything to be done in this material world happens with great difficulty. There is great amount of sweat and toil, which is mandatory on the part of the executioner. So, but when one is serving in the mission of the Lord, then one is stretching not just for the result, but one is stretching to evoke the love in one's heart, to churn the love in one's heart. The result may come very wonderfully. I mean, the result, a wonderful, stunning result may come. Or the result may be so minuscule that it is not noticed by anyone. That doesn't matter. The Acharyas and the Bhakti Shastras explain that that does not matter. But what matters is that devotee has struggled, and that brings out, that churns out his love in his heart. That awakens one's spiritual state that creates that spiritual awakening. So therefore, in the execution of bhakti, there are no thorns and pebbles. Why? Because one is not excessively attached to results, but one is attached to serving. That is the idea. When Jatayu saw Ravana abducting Mother Sita, Jatayu knew that he is going to lose it. He knew that he is no match for, at that age, Jatayu is not a match for Ravana. He knew he would lose it, and he knew he would lose his life. Because Ravana was a formidable warrior, and Ravana was maddened by lust and pride. So Jatayu knew he will lose it, but still he jumped into that service. So Jatayu didn't want to become the, one may say, okay, so Jatayu's consciousness was not that, okay, he will kill Ravana and he will save Mother Sita and then he will be the hero in the entire entourage of Lord Ramachandra. That yes, he's the savior, he's the hero, he's the Masiha. So Jatayu had no consciousness like that. He knew this is not going to happen. But still he did the service. And he did his service very enthusiastically, not just to mark attendance. He did his service very enthusiastically. Knowing that he would lose it, he was so enthusiastic and he gave such a tough fight to Ravana. Finally, Ravana cut his wings. He fell down, badly wounded, and was just counting hours to leave his body. He was just counting hours to leave his body. So that is the point. Therefore, we understand that by that service, what happened is that Jatayu invoked the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Externally he lost, but he invoked the mercy of the Supreme Lord. In the same way, Abhimanyu jumped into the Chakravyuh and gave such a tough fight to the 6 Maharathis parallelly. Knowing that he would leave his body, knowing that he would die, he jumped in. And because of that service, he invoked the love of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who sent him back home to the spiritual world. So this is the point. This is how material affairs differentiate themselves from spiritual affairs. Spiritual affairs also, so spiritual affairs, it is not that, so the spiritual affairs, a devotee wants to work harder. Material affairs, the devotee is forced to work harder. Material affairs do not guarantee any results even after hard work. Spiritual affairs guarantee 100% spiritual result. The result is the blossoming of Krishna Prema. That is the result actually. So material affairs, one faces thorns and pricks because of the disturbances which one is encountering in the mission. But in spiritual affairs, there is no feeling of thorn and prick, because to whatever degree one is able to serve, to that degree, to whatever degree externally one is able to serve, so internally one's heart is completely churned. That's the whole point. So yes, there may be disturbances when one carries out service also, but that disturbance will not give the feeling of a thorn prick, because the devotee knows that I want to use the external to ignite the internal. And if the internal is ignited, external may not be that much required as well. So the devotee wants to makes a target of the external to churn the internal, and therefore to whatever extent the external happens, the internal is 100%. Provided the devotee is enthusiastic and perseverant in his service to Krishna. So therefore Prabhupada explains in the purport of Bhagavad Gita, second chapter, that success or no success, a devotee is always determined and enthusiastic. A devotee is always determined to act in servitude to the Supreme Lord. So only in that consciousness we will not face the miserable agonizing ordeal of the thorny and pricky uphill climb, which makes one shed blood because the thorns are biting. Therefore, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says in one of his Vaishnava songs, तुम्हारा सेवाइते जयते दुख सहिते परम सुख. That, O Lord, in your service, whatever inconvenience is there, whatever austerities are there, those are the sources, those are my greatest sources of ecstasy. Those are my greatest ecstasies. Because that austerity gives the devotee that confidence, that feeling that yes, I am stretching for Krishna. So therefore it is the greatest ecstasy. It is the ecstasy of love, because the love is involved, and therefore that austerity is the source of greatest ecstasy. So that is the idea. Now Prabhupada is explaining in the purport that to maintain, one has to work very hard to acquire money, just to maintain this material, mundane family affairs. For a devotee, money becomes a subservient factor. A devotee may try a little bit to get money to use in the service of the Lord, but for a devotee, the service aspect is more important and the money aspect is secondary. Whatever comes, he will engage in the service of the Lord. Whatever comes, he will engage in the service of the Lord. So therefore, a devotee of the Lord, so therefore now the difference between the two endeavors is that, whereas a materialist will always be in hankering because his desires are not satiated, and a devotee will always be satisfied. A devotee is also targeting a powerful service to Krishna, because devotee wants to serve more and more. But at any point in that service, even the final result is not reached, a devotee will be satisfied. He will be satisfied and peaceful. Why he will be satisfied? Because whatever he has today, he has offered to Krishna. So therefore, the life of a devotee is very sublime, and one is saved from this bloodshed of the thorn pricks and the entanglements of this material world. That's why one has to sincerely and intensely take to Krishna consciousness. One has to sincerely and with determination and commitment channelize one's activities to make it an offering of service to Krishna. Otherwise, those activities are so entangling, and that material attachment will make one fall into this dark well, which is miserable, which is quite entangling, and the way to get out is not at all easy. So we'll stop here. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.